for those that are struggling with this type of work and they're misstepping and they're saying, well, I'm just not getting it right. I'm trying to be more like Ana, but I'm just continuing to misstep and fail and trip and fall. And, they're just caught up in a level of distress. What would you recommend for them?
I took my own example. Mentors, they are like someone you look up to. When I realized that this is actually mentorship, helping organizations to become more equitable, more inclusive, more diverse, and helping the underrepresented have the courage to claim their worth in the workplace, which sometimes is not that inclusive. I looked at my example and I realized, okay, what are the patterns and the practices and the techniques I had employed in 2 decades? What has worked? Because I represented and I was employed in executive jobs by, internationally by big companies. And I realized what has worked was connected with a mentor without knowing she was a mentor at that time. I was broken, and this is when I was like trying to report something like a business conduct, but actually I was connecting with someone who became my mentor. And she told me something I will never forget, Emanuel. She said, you cannot change the environment. What you can change your path, Ana. And with your mindset, just go and pursue an international career. So I think what has worked for me is reach out to your family, to your colleagues, or to a mentor. You have no idea that woman, what an impact had on me in that moment. That moment was crucial. 15 years down the line, and I look behind, and 44 countries, 3 huge industry and companies I have worked for, an amazing career and amazing memories, a global network of people now, connecting with you. So I think the most important, we are not alone. We need to reach out. Mentorship takes off because it's no longer the traditionalist way of assigning an employee to a more senior person. No, is becoming even it could be a peer-to-peer relationship. The most important, a mentor needs to inspire you in so many ways and needs to give you the courage, because sometimes we are broken or we are not at our best. So this is what's working for me. And this is something I bring in my day-to-day mentorship and in my disruptive mentorship with organization. The courage piece, unconstruct the mentorship principle, because I believe companies' mentors are biased. So I'm a big fan of, non-biased mentorship. And so many other, beautiful things. I think also my way of mentoring people, employing motivational interviewing.
Can you expand on that, please? What does that mean? What is that? Tell us. I'm curious now.
Can you be the mentee for a moment?
Absolutely. Okay. Let's do it.
You are the mentee, and I will practice an example of a question I would ask in the mentoring session. Emanuel, you have this beautiful podcast where you bring in so many inspiring people to inspire others to live a healthy life. How would you feel when your podcast will become one of the most popular podcasts?
Oh, Ana, thanks for asking. And also thanks for noticing the possibilities of this podcast. I will feel like if I'm sitting on top of the world, I will feel magnanimous. I will feel as if I am not only amplifying my own voice, but I'm also doing the same for others. And I will feel as if I'm living my true passion and dream.
What I did, I was like, I employed empathy by empathizing with your purpose. I also, as a technique, I focused my question to already I brought you to an end state, to motivate you to see yourself in the future. And after that, more questions and more guidance from me will follow up in order to help you break down the necessary steps to get there. I realize somehow motivational interviewing is one of the many techniques. For me, I think I was born to be optimistic and to motivate myself. And this is something I would do. And this is what motivational interviewing in mentorship is.
Now, does this factor into that accelerated path that you talk about?
Yes, Emanuel, exactly, because I was asked, I got my certification as a mentor in December last year, just because I was like, okay, I've done it for 2 decades, but I need the certification to be credible. And during the, certification stage, I was asked, how can you reflect and as a mentor and look back, what is it that drives that quick result in your mentees? And at that time, honestly, it was like I couldn't tell. And I said probably because I have this genuine connection and build up this I bring in my value, one of my third value, integrity, courage, but also the genuine connection. But actually it's this motivational. The motivational interviewing technique I'm born with, and also I practiced. And this drives amazing results in people.